Right now, I would like to recognize any veterans that we have here. All right, raise your hands, please. That's wonderful. Thank you for your service, for sure. All right, we're honored to have Chad Mays, is a 2014 Republican candidate for Assembly District 42. Chad was first elected to the Yucca Valley Town Council in 2002 and then re-elected in 2006 and in 2010. He's also served twice as mayor of Yucca Valley. As a representative to the League of California Cities, he's a strong advocate of shifting power away from federal and state governments to local communities. Chad and his wife Shannon are lifelong residents of Yucca Valley. He's the son of a pastor and a committed Christian church leader. He is also a graduate of Liberty University. Chad is currently Chief of Staff to the Chair of the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors, Janice Rutherford. So now I'd like to introduce Chad Mays.
You're gonna have to wave me down.
Not me, tightly.
I'm gonna come out here too. So I should start off by saying I'm never gonna forgive Glenn for placing me after this young lady. Because I thought she did a phenomenal job. Let's give her another round of applause. So I thought I'd start off with 8 minutes. I'll give you a little bit more about my background and who I am. You know, oftentimes as politicians get up and talk, you can talk about different policy things, but I think it's important to understand where it's coming from. So let me give you a little bit of my background, a little bit more than what was there. I grew up in Yucca Valley, moved there when I was just a young toddler. Like she said, I'm the son of a pastor and a school teacher. And for me, life started very young. Work started very young. Although my dad's a pastor, he grew up on a family farm in Ohio. And they wanted to instill the value of hard work in their kids. The one thing I remember is everything earned, nothing ever given. So I remember being 4 years old and waking up and having to go out and get eggs from out from underneath the chickens and milking the goats, and we also had rabbits on our little half-acre in Yucca Valley. And then when I was 11 years old, my dad opened up the High Desert Star, which is our local newspaper, and he says, "Chad, they're looking for paper boys. Put in your application." And okay, so I'm 11 years old, and so I started that paper out, and I kept that paper out actually until I went to college. I did well academically. I graduated 2 years ahead and graduated a month after my 16th birthday, and then went on to Copper Mountain College, which is our local community college there in the Morongo Basin. And while I was there, I realized that I wanted to study political science. I wanted to study government. So I went back to Virginia, went to Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, and studied political science, trying to get Ryan, instead of going, what were those schools that you wanted to go to?
Hillsdale and Highland.
Yeah, they're not very good schools. Liberty is a much better school. My last semester at Liberty, I had the opportunity of going and interning for Senator John Ashcroft when he was still a senator from the state of Missouri before he became U.S. Attorney General under President Bush. And then I moved home, after which I swore I would never do. Yucca Valley is a small town, and I wanted to get away, because that's what you do. I moved home. I ended up becoming a stockbroker, a financial advisor with Edward Jones Investments. So at the age of 23, I opened up an Edward Jones office. And about a year later, 24, I met my wife, asked my wife, Shannon, to marry me. We were married I was married at 24, and about 6 months later, decided that I was going to run for city council in Yucca Valley. So at the age of 25, I was the youngest elected official at the town of Yucca Valley. At the age of 27, my colleagues on the council made me mayor. And I've got to tell you, for somebody that grew up in that hometown, to be called the mayor of your hometown is a pretty cool thing. Pretty cool thing. I got reelected again in 2006, and also got reelected in 2010. At the same time, my good friend Janice Rutherford, who is a council member in the city of Fontana, got elected to the county County Board of Supervisors in San Bernardino County. And if you guys have been reading papers for a couple of years, San Bernardino County was going through some really rough time. And so I felt like it was incumbent upon me to go in and help try to clean the county up. And so in 2010, I went to work for Janice as her chief of staff. So why am I running for the state assembly? You know, simply I love California. We were looking earlier at some pictures, some beautiful pictures of scenery. And when you think about California, is there a state that is more beautiful than California? You know, I don't think that there is. Our deserts, our mountains, our national parks, and it's Joshua National Park here, our desert. I mean, you just think about the 42nd Assembly District going from La Quinta down to Palm Springs, through the pass into Yucaipa, Hemet, San Jacinto, Yucca Valley, 29 Palms. I mean, just the diversity and the beauty that is here that we can see. There is not a more beautiful state than California. But don't we think, when we think about California, it's not the beauty of the place, it's not the natural resources, it's not the people that we have, but we feel like there's something broken. Something isn't right. So, and what is that? I'll tell you a story. Last summer, I was invited to a going-away party for a gentleman, the Morrison family, Brett Morrison, and I had known them for years. We weren't strong friends, but strong acquaintances, and I'd been invited to his going-away party. So I walked into this party, and I said to Brett, Brett, I understand you're leaving us. And he said, yes, Chad, we're leaving. And I said, well, where are you going? He said, Chad, I'm moving to America. And I said, well, Brett, you know, it's been a long day. I'm not exactly sure I understand what you're saying. He said, Chad, I'm tired of California and I'm moving to America. I said, yeah, Brett, I heard what you said, but I don't really understand what you mean. He said, Chad, I'm done with California. I'm leaving California. I'm moving to America. I'm moving to McKinney, Texas. And if you hear, after he said that, and when I left that, of course I talked to him, he says, Chad, I'm tired of the high taxes. I'm tired of our regulations. I'm just done with it. It's time to go to a place where I've got more freedom and there's more opportunity and for prosperity. And so it's not that California isn't a beautiful state. It's not that we don't have the phenomenal natural resources, but our politics here in this state are broken. We have the highest income tax rate, 13% of any state in the country. If you combine all of our taxes together, we're the 4th highest taxes that you pay per capita, which by the way don't include things like development impact fees and other things that if you get added, you know what I'm talking about. We have the highest taxes in the nation. Our poverty rate in 2012, if you factor for housing costs and other things, is 23.8% poverty rate in California. We have the highest poverty rate of any state in this country. We're broken. So when you think of Brett Morrison, there's that fight or flight response. We've got two choices. We can either fight or we can flee. For Brett, he decided that he was done. He was going to flee. He was gone. For those of us that are here, and at my age, I love this state, and I think California is worth fighting for, and so I'm going to do whatever I can possibly do to fight for this state. Thank you so much. God bless. Any questions now? Okay. Any questions? It's better to take questions and find out what you want me to my thoughts on.
Yeah. About 5 minutes later.
Yes.
What do you plan to accomplish when you get to Sacramento?
Well, right. So you can tell the way that she asked the question. So let's be real here. There are 80 members of the state assembly, and there are 40 members of the state senate. So I'm running for state assembly. There's currently only 25 members who are Republicans. 27 members is what it takes to get out of the super minority. So 41 is what you need to be able to get anything accomplished. We all learned that in civics class. So it's an uphill battle, there is no doubt. In 2006 in California, 35% of Californians registered as Republicans, 43% registered as Democrats. Today that number is 28%. Democrats still have 43%. So there's actually a 15% gap between Democrats and Republicans in the state. My humble opinion is we've got a lot of Republicans that are moving places like Texas. But But for those of us that are still here, we've got to continue to fight. So here's the good news. PPIC, it's the Public Policy Institute of California, does a lot of polling. Just this last week, they released a poll that asked the question, they've been doing this for several years, asked the question, as Californians, what would you prefer, to pay more in taxes and get more government service, or would you prefer to pay less in taxes and get less government service? And for the first time, it's over 53%. At the same time, by the way, that Republican registrations have dropped. You see, even in California, the Democrats and the independents have figured out that they're tired of our taxes being too high and government being too intrusive in our lives. So whether we've got the registration there, I think the tide is beginning to turn. And I think we've maybe hit the bottom, and now we're beginning to turn that back up again. So to answer your question, part of it is political. It's on the policy side. When you're in the super minority, you're not going to be able to get a whole lot of things done. You can work with Democrats to do some things inside the district, but on any major policy stuff, it's going to be very, very difficult. But we've got to begin to turn back the tide, to go from 28 to 29 to 30, to have folks begin to register again as Republicans and make sure that they turn out. So just like I talked about, the census data in 2012, 23.8% of Californians live in poverty. But I've got to tell you, I'm not a Republican because I want to see the rich get richer, although if the rich get richer, then that's great. I'm a Republican because I believe in people, and I want to see the human condition. I want to see people increase their own place in life. You know, for me, having 23.8% of our state in poverty is completely unacceptable. You know why we're there? We're there because in California, we've created an environment in which business can't succeed. In 2000, and jobs aren't there. 2000, there were in California, there were 1.9 million manufacturing jobs. Today, there's 1.2 million manufacturing jobs. The rest of the country, by the way, because energy prices, natural gas prices have come down, the manufacturing is increasing across this country. It's not increasing in California. So when we're talking about that family who never went to college, the opportunity has to be there for them to be able to get from where they're at, to be able to buy a home, to be able to send their kids to college if that's what they want. We've got to focus, you're exactly right, we've got to focus on folks where they're currently at. And food stamps and other government programs are not the answer. We've got to be able to provide opportunities for them so that they can have a better life for themselves. I think I'm out of time, and I thank you so much.